Greetings, my excellent friends.
Welcome to Heavy Metal
History.
Hey, what's up, guys? Real quick intro to the podcast, just to kind of catch you up on everything that's been going on with us here at Heavy Metal History Camp. Pretty much my microphone broke. I am back to using my old, really crappy sounding mic, unfortunately, so I hope you guys can deal with the sound on just a couple episodes, if not only one, hopefully. And then we'll be back to sounding halfway decent. So this episode, I had on Christian Mansfield, the guitar player for the band Transcend the Realm. He came on to kind of talk about the band. They have a tour coming up. They just put out an EP back in June. It's fucking awesome. Like, go check them out on Bandcamp. If you're in any of the states that they're going to be touring on, go see them live. Like, you will not regret it, I promise. If you like solid technical death metal, then this band is right up your alley. Obviously, we're going to link to all that stuff in the show notes. Yeah, man, I'm going to be seeing Matt here in about a week, and we're going to be actually together being able to podcast for like 3 or 4 days, so we're going to pump out just like a ton of shit in between all the stuff we're doing. So we appreciate your patience. We've been doing this podcast for a year now, and it's been fun, and I wish we could dedicate more time and stuff to it, but we both work full-time jobs, and this is what we can do in our spare time. So we appreciate the fuck out of everybody who's listened to us over the year. It's fucking cool, and we're gonna keep doing this as much as we can. So here's episode number 33, Christian Mansfield from Transcend the Realm. Cool. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Heavy Metal History Podcast. It's been a while since you've heard from us. So Matt is busy doing holiday stuff, but I'm going to be meeting up with that motherfucker in like a week, and we're going to put out some podcasts for you. But today, my guest is Christian from the band Transcend the Realm. Christian, thank you for doing the podcast, man.
Yeah, thank you, Dustin. Excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, dude. It's cool, man, like, doing this podcast, like, the way we kind of, like, meet people and, get people from bands on, it's one thing having, like, somebody from a bigger band on, but, like, the one thing we really, really try to do is, like, get those bands that need that boost and people haven't heard about yet, because, that's what keeps music alive.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And with the whole internet now, everyone can do a podcast and just spread the word even more and more efficiently and quicker as well,
Yeah, as long as net neutrality goes away.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here pretty soon.
Oh, man. Well, Christian, tell us a little bit about yourself before we start getting into band stuff and what we came here to talk about today.
Well, it's hard not to talk about band stuff when I'm trying to talk about myself,
Hey, no worries, man.
I've been playing guitar for about 11 years now.
Okay.
And ever since freshman year of high school in 2006, I saw the movie The Crossroads. It's not the Britney Spears one. I always have to tell people that. It's the one with Karate Kid, and he's like he's a blues player, and he finds out about some secret track that a famous blues guy or a group did in Mississippi or something. So he takes that famous guy who's old now, and then they run off to Mississippi to try and find the missing track. And at the end, he has to battle Steve Vai on guitars. They're cutting heads and all that. And
shit.
Yeah, the whole guitar battle with Steve Vai just shredding it up really got me into wanting to learn how to try and do that.
I've never heard of that movie. I really want to check it out now.
Yeah, I would suggest it. It's a good one.
So, 2006. I had just graduated high school in 2006 myself.
Nice.
Yeah, I started playing guitar probably around like 2001, 2000.
Yeah.
But I'm nowhere near as good as you are.
Oh man.
I will say that.
Yeah, I tend to just lock myself in a room and practice guitar and listen to stand-up comedy and such more than I probably should. but this pays off in some way.
Yeah, that's where I dropped the ball, man. I was never dedicated enough to like really get good at it. Like I can hold a rhythm pretty well and do some patterns and stuff, but shredding is way out of my depth.
Yeah, I know how you feel, man. Once I start thinking that I'm getting kind of good, I'll go on YouTube and just see like a 5-year-old playing something way more technical than I can even imagine. So it always brings me back to earth,
It's really crazy too, man, because kids today have so much access to like immediate knowledge, especially with stuff with instruments. Whereas like back in the day, man, you had to sit down with like a guitar teacher or buy like a book and like try to learn how to play that way. And it's just like,
yeah, exactly. It's almost like learning a new language. Like you had to really commit to it. But yeah, nowadays, and especially with like younger generations of kids who have been born into the whole internet and technology rising that we've been a part of, it's insane what they can do now.
It's cool though, man, because we're getting some really talented individuals out of it if you really look at it that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm all for it. Bring on more technology.
So besides starting, that's how you wanted to start playing guitar. What are some of the bands that kind of started you off getting into metal?
Let's see. So I kind of went from like a rock phase, like stuff that my parents would listen to, like Bon Jovi or the Allman Brothers and things like that. Yeah. And then I kind of and then I met some friends who were into actually some heavy stuff already, and I immediately just gravitated towards like the technicality and the musicianship with everyone in the band. So I was listening to like Zayo and Beneath the Massacre and As I Lay Dying and things like that, all sorts. And I would kind of just try and find a whole bunch of bands after that, and I could never really get enough of it.
God, dude, I remember the first time, I might have already said this story when I had Justin from Beneath the Massacre on, but man, the first time I fucking heard Beneath the Massacre, I was just kind of like, what in the fuck did I just hear? Like,
oh, I know.
Man, cool. I've been in Chris's like little home studio that he has, and like the way he plays guitar is just like, he thinks that he's not a good guitar player, and that's what confounds me. And he's just sitting there like, oh, I don't know how to write the riff. I just like solo and chug, and that's it. And I was like, dude, you're a good guitar player. Like, shut up.
Yeah, I know. It's that band has always blown me away. I've been obsessing over their Incongruous album for like ever since it came out. I still listen to it almost every single day. It's definitely my number one go-to because it's just like every riff is so heavy and so catchy. It's like,
yeah, they really stepped up their game. Like with every album they put out, like each subsequent release is just better and better and better. I really love that Marie Noire EP they did.
Oh yes.
Oh man, that thing is crushing.
Definitely. And I love that song Nevermore that they put on like every single album of theirs. They just keep rewriting it, but it's such a good song. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to see them live a couple of years ago, and that song till this day, Nevermore, is still the heaviest breakdown live I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, man, you're lucky you got to see them because, yeah, it's kind of a bummer they don't really tour or do shows anymore.
Yeah, do you know what's going on with that? Because it's a shame.
Well, when I did talk to Chris, he said they were working on new material, so that's a plus. As far as them touring with it, they probably won't.
Yeah, they almost don't even need to anymore, I mean, they should, but
yeah,
they could get away with just studio albums from now on. But
yeah, I think Elliot has like a super serious like government job or something like that, or like.
Yeah, got those benefits. Doesn't want to leave that.
Yeah, that's the hard part, man. Like they weren't really selling a lot of records. I mean, I remember seeing like their first week sales for Incongruous when it came out, and they only sold like 700 records the first week.
Wow, really? It's hard to believe, man.
Not that it probably didn't grow from there, but I mean, that's still like first week sales matter the most.
Yeah, exactly. That's really all that matters to the labels and things.
Yeah. So how did those bands kind of, I mean, it's a little obvious if you listen to the music, but how did they influence you as like a guitar player and a writer?
Well, just like the technicality of it all, just in a listening aspect, not even like watching their fingers or them playing on YouTube or anything. I was trying to like dissect the music and comprehend what they were doing to achieve those sounds,
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't figure it out, so I kept listening to even more and more technical things, and just got heavier and heavier down the rabbit hole, and just trying to learn how to do what they do as a musician myself.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line with technical metal too, where like some of it gets a little bit too much for me personally, where it's just like, okay, like I know you put a lot of work into making this song like just super crazy technical.
Yeah.
But it I don't know, it feels like a little overwhelming sometimes when they're just like playing all these crazy riffs, and it doesn't really make for a good song perhaps sometimes.
Yeah.
There's that fine line where you have to make a good song with like catchy technical riffs, I feel like. But that's just me personally. I know everybody's kind of has a different opinion on technical death metal for sure.
Yeah, there's certain bands that, in my opinion, can be a little too noisy in that department, or like too tech or discordant,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. I think it works in certain aspects, but I think it also works more so like with like say Dillinger Escape Plan or like Siapus or something. They're more of like a live show kind of band, like that's what everyone's going for, is that like raw energy, just extreme music going on,
Yeah, that's what me and Matt were going to New York to see Dillinger's like final show.
Oh yeah,
I'm like beyond stoked for that. They're probably like by far one of the best bands I've ever seen live.
Yeah, they're nuts. I don't know how they can jump around like not get hurt. They must have a great health insurance plan or something. But yeah, that's cool. How was that show? I'm sure it was mad packed.
Well, it's actually on the 27th, so it'll be next week. We're going to it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we've been trying to like set up interviews with them and stuff, and like we keep getting like yes-anded, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like one of my dream guests to get on, was Ben from Dillinger or Greg or somebody. But yeah, it probably won't happen now.
Oh yeah, it's a shame. Well, hopefully you can catch him at the show or something to get
right?
Get a quick little interview or something.
So tell us about the band, man. That's why we're here today. We're going to talk about your band. You had an album come out back in June, right?
Yes, our most recent release was at the end of June. We released our EP, Perennial Discoveries, and I'm in the band Transcend the Realm. We're a technical death metal band from Orange County, California, and we have a full-length album which was released back in 2014, and then like I said, we just released this new EP in 2017.
Man, I didn't even know it was an EP. It's pretty long.
Exactly. It's like a gray area, I think it's over 30 minutes long, so I guess it can count as an album, right?
Yeah.
But it's only like 6 songs, so it depends on your individual criteria of what you want to call an album,
Yeah, that's always a weird thing because, if you look at it that way, pretty much like all of Napalm Death's discography should just be EPs since they're so short.
I know, all those grindcore bands, like,
oh man,
4-second songs.
So, I guess what we always like to hear about is like the writing and recording process, going into an album or an EP. How and when did it start for this EP?
So it started, I guess, a few years back, like right after our first full-length release in 2014. We were kind of writing some ideas for something new, but We've unfortunately been cursed with having a lot of band member changes throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of set us back. So it took a couple of years. That's why it got released in 2017. So once we had a solid lineup, we each got to, like, each member of the band essentially got to write their own song in its entirety, which is cool. So it's like each song you listen to, it has a whole different like vibe or sound to it.
Huh.
And that's why that is. And then we also did 2 covers. So there's 4 originals and 2 covers. The 2 covers, one was a Mr. Bungle cover, Ars Moriendi, from the California album, because we've always been huge fans of Mr. Bungle and all their weirdness. So we tried to emulate that and create it as a metal song. So that was fun to do. We had to learn that song by ear, and then just had our drummer add blast beats to it. That was the process of that. And then our second cover was a old traditional like Balkan piece that was originally composed for classical guitar and flute.
Okay.
And it just sounded cool, and so we were like, hey, let's make this into a metal song. So we did. So that's our instrumental track off the album.
So when you say that everybody writes their own song, does that mean like everybody has a hand, so to speak, in like writing, or is able to write like the guitar parts, drum parts, and everything else, or is it still kind of like you get input from everybody else?
So our bass player Tony is actually going to school for guitar performance.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, he plays classical guitar and bass, which is interesting, but he also knows how to play some piano and stuff too. So our drummer also can play guitar or piano and all of that. So yeah, everyone sort of is full of ideas. We've never really had a writer's block period at all, which is great. There's always ideas roaming around in our heads for new material.
That's good to have that many like kind of creative like people involved that are able to like be multitaskers too in the band. I'm sure it helps like immensely if somebody's like stuck on something and you have somebody else come in and be like, yo, I got it. Like this is it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, we like to just sort of write riffs and then smorgasbord it all together. Just take the best of what we have and try and make it sound fluid as one song. But yeah, we've never really done like a whole concept thing or anything like that lyrically. Mm-hmm. We also all write lyrics and all that. We're very open as a band together, like we're not gonna like say, oh yeah, it's good, but like we don't really like it, like if we don't like it, we'll let you know, because there's no point in wasting time with that. But respectfully, of course, it's not like, oh, you suck, like don't come to me with an idea again, sort of thing. But yeah, we like to just bounce ideas off each other all the time, and it's kind of just you can't go wrong.
So has this been like the most solid lineup you've had then?
Yes, we have like a little powerhouse now, and it's been nice. We've always had like 5 members in the band, but now our second guitar player also does vocals, so we're just like a 4-piece powerhouse now, and a little more room in the car when we go on tour, and it's kind of nice. But yeah, we're all having a good time, and we're all vibing and just want to share our music to the world,
Yeah, that's good, man. Like if it's all vibing together, like, man, you just gotta like hold on to it. So if you got a good thing going, you just can't like stop it.
Exactly. Yeah. And everyone in the band is like very passionate about what they do. So it's like every time we go out on the road, it's just more of like a mini vacation for us,
Yeah.
even though it's a lot of work involved every day. But yeah, no, we always have a good time.
Oh, dude, it can be so grueling. It's like especially for you guys, you're playing like clubs and bars and stuff. So I'm sure like dealing with all that is a fucking nightmare. Ugh.
Yeah, it's we always come back full of stories,
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll get an occasional theater sometimes, and it's a nice break.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to me too when like I find bands like this or get told about them. It's like I have to listen. When I listen to it, and I'm thinking to myself like, why are these guys like having like I know everybody kind of has to start out, but like if the music's solid, like why aren't you guys on bigger tours? And I get that it's like a matter of getting your name out there and stuff, and it'll happen, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like more bigger bands need to take chances on the bands that are just kind of starting out. Like, well, not that you guys are just starting out, but I think they just need to take chances on bands that need to get a little bit of a push.
Hey, I hear you, man. I'm I'm open to doing bigger tours, definitely.
Yeah, it just sucks because like from a financial standpoint, like it's never like good for the bigger band, which is stupid, but I don't know, that's just what I learned from being on the road. It's politics, just like everything else.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 for the up and coming band. Like they want to get that spot or the slot on the tour package, but the big band's looking for someone that's gonna it's already known and's gonna sell tickets. But most people are gonna go see the headliner. That's where they're going. So yeah, a lot of times you have to like buy on to tours like that if you're it gets really expensive, and then you're not even getting paid for the shows and stuff. It's rough. So that's why we've kind of adopted the whole self-reliant way of doing things for now anyway. Yeah. Just to get the ball rolling and stay active, and hopefully one day we get a call from a booking agent or something. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's the good thing about that too is like you do kind of build like a little bit of rapport with like bookers and promoters and stuff. At that kind of stage of where you guys are at, and it does help. Because like who knows, man? Maybe they'll have like some band drop off and they need somebody to like play a show and get a little more exposure. I was gonna say something else too. Like you were talking about like bigger bands and like how people generally like only go to see headliners, and I used to be that way so bad. Like when I would go to a show, I'd be like, I don't care about the openers. Like I don't care if we get there late. Like I'm only there to see this band. And I realized like I was missing out on so much music that way, or like bands that I like wouldn't have known about until like going to see the early shows. And it was like, yeah, man, I was dumb for doing that for so long.
Yeah, me being in a local band, I always try to get there for all the bands and see them, because I know how it is. Yeah. Even at some local showcases, sometimes the local bands will leave right after they play, and it's kind of it's like I understand if you got things going on, but it's a little disrespectful. We're all here together. It's a local showcase sort of thing. Like why not stick around? The only people that are there are the bands anyway.
Right.
But
yeah, I've unfortunately lived in places that like just don't have good local scenes. So it's anytime a show comes around, it's like, yeah, I'll go check it out. But it's just like a bunch of 14-year-olds, trying to play As I Lay Dying songs. It's just like, oh man, I know you guys are trying.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to do the original music, in my opinion. Yeah. Unless you're like a tribute band or something, you do your thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad to have like a cover song, in your set. I mean, it's always fun.
We do it, so I can't say anything really. But we always like to cover songs that originally weren't metal at all, and turn them into metal songs. So it's
Dude, I love when people do that.
Yeah, it's fun.
You know what's one I was kind of talking about? I might have mentioned this on one of our episodes before, but Weezer's Hash Pipe is ripe for a metal cover.
Oh, okay.
Dude, just like that opening chunky jun 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 jun.
Yeah.
It's
throw a breakdown on that. You're good to go.
Yeah, it's perfect for a metal cover.
I'll have to re-listen to that one.
So you do have a tour coming up. That's part of why we have you on today. So let us know a little bit about what's going on with that and who all is on the tour.
Yeah, so we're calling it the Devastating Tonal Frequencies Tour, or DTF Tour, abbreviated. And it's going to be my band Transcend the Realm from California, and Scalafrea from Colorado, and Fields of Elysium from New Mexico. So it's going to be a 3-band tour package, and we're really excited because we've actually been fans of Fields of Elysium forever, so we're going to be probably fanboying the whole time. So yeah, we're super excited to get to play with them, and we actually got to play with Scalafrea when the last time Transcend the Realm was up in Denver, Colorado. Nice. And they killed it that night, and we kind of talked, and they already were planning on doing a West Coast tour in January, and so were we. So it all kind of just came together pretty easily. And so we're going to be hitting up California, like Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico. And Transcend the Realm is only going to be doing those states from January 2nd through January 8th. And then Scalafrea and Fields of Elysium are actually doing January 2nd all the way to January 14th. And they're doing like the whole West Coast. They're going to be hitting Oregon and Washington and Idaho, as well as Utah and Colorado, plus the Arizona, California, New Mexico dates that we're doing also. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid lineup, man. I'm kind of glad you pointed out those all to me, and I was just like, oh man, like if you guys are like really really into tech metal, if you haven't heard of any of these bands, like obviously we're gonna link to them and everything, but go to these shows. Like you're not gonna be disappointed at all. And I mean, I'm sure cover's gonna be like what, $10-15 a show a night.
Yeah, around there. Like 10.
Yeah, dude, yeah. $10 more than worth it.
Can't go wrong. You guys come on out.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure to share those dates. We're gonna post this a whole bunch up until they start tour, and obviously, I want everybody who listens to this like really go check these bands out because they're solid as fuck. Like, not even kidding.
Thank you. Yeah, we'd appreciate it. All the hype we can get.
Yeah. So, what's some stuff you've been listening to recently, man? I know everybody's kind of doing their end of year lists, and we're about to start putting ours out there. So I figure we can talk about some new stuff too.
Yeah, I've actually been in kind of a weird groove lately. I haven't been listening to much metal.
I feel it.
If it's cool to say or not, but I've been really into like Tigran Hamasyan. It's like this jazz pianist who will have like a bass player and a drummer with him, and it's like true jazz metal. It's really sick. You guys should check it out if you get the chance. I'm listening to some Alan Holdsworth. This band called Darth Vegas. They're really trippy, kind of like Mr. Bungle-ish, but they're like an Australian big band, and they're just like really weird and out there, and get a lot of cool ideas from them.
I bet Matt probably knows who they are.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And then I've been listening to some Gojira too, Go Rod, Beneath the Massacre, of course. I've been getting back into some older albums too, like Into the Moat.
Oh my god, those albums are so fucking good.
Right? Like I have a whole new
Jesus.
appreciation for them, coming back to them, and like I've been listening to the album The Design.
Yeah.
And man, I can't stop listening to it.
They're one of those bands, man, that I was so ready for them to like take off, and they just never quite did. And I would always tell people about them, be like, "You got to check this band out," and they just they just fell off.
I know. I never even got to see them live. I think I got into them after they were already like done as a band, unfortunately. So
yeah. Same here. I got into them like right when The Design came out, maybe a little bit after. But then they put out that album that came out in like 2010, and they were supposed to do like a tour, and then they just never did. And it was like, damn it, man.
Yeah, it's a shame, man.
Yeah, that's one of those bands I really want to figure out how to like get in touch with one of those guys and have them on the podcast, because I would have so many questions for them.
Yeah, I'd like to see if any of the members are doing anything presently in any bands. You know, I'm sure if I researched, I could find out. But
true. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've thought about like looking them up and seeing what they're up to. Any of those guys? That's a good point.
Yeah. Another band. I actually just joined this band called The Last of Lucy from Huntington Beach. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they. Yeah, we just released an album actually at the end of November, so it's pretty fresh release, and it's like really technical death metal.
I want to say I saw somebody post that on Reddit somewhere. Maybe it definitely sounds really familiar, and I didn't check it out, but I definitely saw that name very, very recently on something, and I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, we have it. I don't know. I was. It's funny. I used to always be a huge fan because they're a local band here in Orange County, California.
Okay.
And I used to always go to their shows and things, and then I found out they wanted a second guitarist, and I just had to hop on board with that. You know.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I mean, it's got to be fun playing in two different bands too.
Yeah, it's hectic, but teaches you some good time management. That's for sure.
Have you ever? I mean, you're a really good guitar player, so I'm sure this hasn't happened. But have you ever like maybe had a moment where you like start to play one of the other band songs and you're like, oh wait, no.
No, actually, because I have to use different guitars, so it's a whole deal. Yeah, with Transcend the Realm, I used a 6-string. And then I use an 8-string for The Last of Lucy, so it's
way different.
Yeah.
God, man, those 8 strings are they're just mind blowing to me. Like, I always thought it was funny, you know, like people playing 7 strings and that got really big, and I was like, there's no way anybody's gonna do any more strings than that. And then sure enough, man, 8 strings start rolling around, and
yeah, and then now you see like the 17 strings and stuff. It's ridiculous. They're just like art pieces at that point.
Yeah, I don't see what functional use.
You'd have to have some like alien hands to do that. Super long. But I'm still getting used to the 8-string, man. It's like playing on a big like bark of wood or something. I guess that's literally what it is. But it's huge.
Yeah, I tried playing one once, and it's just like that top string was just so fat and loose, and I was like, I can't even like make out anything I'm playing on this, really.
Yeah, it's good
cool,
for
though.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah, if you want to gent it up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's another band. Do you listen to Viljarta at all? Viljarta? I never know how to pronounce.
Yeah, I remember them. They haven't put out anything in a long time, right?
It's been a couple years. Been a couple years, indeed.
Yeah, I remember them. I haven't listened to them in quite a while. I know it. The gent thing's kind of weird for me. Like I was kind of into it, and like it's cool, but then a lot of the bands I started listening to, like they all literally started sounding the same, and I was just like, I don't know if that's me being like picky about it, and there is differentiation between them, or like it really is just one of those things that everybody tried to copy and paste.
Yeah, my whole take on it is like, if a song's predominantly like a breakdown, there's only so many patterns you can come up with. You know, after a certain point, they have to get replicated. You know.
Yeah.
That's just my thought on it. Like, unless you're like learning some Morse code and doing breakdowns and stuff.
That's how I feel about like kind of slam, like brutal death metal too. Like there's only so many chugs you can like really get out of a out of a pattern there.
Yeah, those bands are so fun to see live though. Everyone's just going crazy.
Yeah, that's something I've never really seen live as like a brutal death metal band. Maybe one. I don't know. It's sometimes like shows run together for me, and I'm like, maybe I've seen this band live. It's hard to say.
I know. I wish I like kept some scrapbook or something, because I've probably been to like thousands of shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like ever since probably like 6th or 7th grade, I got in. That's when I first got into metal, and I got really hooked on it, and like the whole community behind it, and the atmosphere. And I used to like save up my lunch money, that my parents would give me in middle school, and just to go to a show on the weekend,
Yeah, that's kind of what I did too. Except my dad was like, he was really weird about letting me go out alone. So like, trying to convince him to let me go to like a metal show was like pulling teeth. I had to like pick and choose which ones I wanted to go to.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you got to pick your battles.
Yeah, the cool thing was though, man, like Whitechapel was like a local band for me, so I got to see them just like go from nothing to just blowing the fuck up out of nowhere within like a year. It was crazy.
That's cool. Yeah, that band is so heavy live. It's bonkers.
Yeah, they've been hit or miss for me. Like I've seen them when they've been really, really heavy, and then I've seen them when they just sound like a wall of mud. And it's just like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's disappointing.
Well, what was that one album? Escapes me now, but with the song like Vice or Excise or whatever. That was.
I think that was their first album.
Yeah,
Somatic Defilement.
Yes, exactly. That was very heavy.
Yeah.
That's when I saw them live. They played Chain Reaction, a local show venue here.
Oh, dude, I love Chain.
Yeah, and the whole walls were just shaking, man. It was wild.
Chain Reaction was one of those venues that before I kind of started touring, I would always see in that live Bury Your Dead video, and I'd always be like, man, the venue looks so cool. It looks so cool. And then you get there and you're like, oh, that's it? Like, it looks so much bigger on that fucking video.
It's so
cool venue, though. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, one of the few remaining all ages venues around town. Still.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually really funny. I don't know if it's still there. There used to be like a little clothing store next to Chain.
Oh yeah, like Off the Chain or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually found an Into the Moat shirt there one day, and I was like, bought it.
Oh wow.
I was super stoked.
Yeah, that's a good grab. Yeah, I remember they used to have like a little room in the back of that store, and after everyone would go there after the shows, and you could like buy cereal or like a snack or something like random, because we're all kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was cool. They would be playing some movies and stuff. Everyone would hang out. Good times. So you're in Washington, right?
Yeah, for now. I'm debating a possible move sometime here in the next month, maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, for now I'm in Olympia, Washington. It's like 2 hours away from Seattle. Yeah,
we played there on our last summer tour. That was a cool spot.
When were you guys through here? This year or
it was it was this year in June.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Did you guys play
let me see if I can find it. It was a theater.
Oh, it was. Huh. The only venues I know of here is like we have Cryptotropo, which is like an venue. It's basically a bar, and then there was Obsidian, but that place just closed down.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah, darn it. The name escaped me. Again, like you said, that after a while the shows get kind of blurry. But
yeah.
Yeah, no, we had a good time.
I didn't know there was anything else around here, so it's kind of a bummer. It's probably why I didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah, I'm bummed we won't be able to make it up on this winter tour to Washington, but Scalafrea and Fields of Elysium are. They're doing, let's see, what are they doing? They're doing Bremerton, Washington?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure where that's at. I'm still, like, unfamiliar with, like, everything in Washington. I've barely lived here a year.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that place either, but I'm sure it'll be a good time.
So, what else? Since you did just kind of release an EP, like, are you guys already maybe like starting to work on stuff? Or you just kind of let this gestate a little bit and tour on it, and then kind of go from there with what's next?
So I actually have already written 3 songs on guitar. Damn. Yeah, I don't know what sparked this, but I just kind of like got in the mood to do a bunch of writing. But so yeah, I wrote like 3 songs already, and we're planning on this being our first like concept album that we do.
Okay.
We're thinking of like a 2-part EP sort of thing. We're kind of leaning more towards the EP releases now, especially as an independent band. It gets a little expensive to do the full lengths and such, but yeah, so we're gonna do like a 2-part concept album, breaking it up into 2 EPs, and yeah, right now we're all kind of just brainstorming still about what the solidified concept is going to be and all that. But yeah, we're just bouncing ideas off each other, and like I said, I already have the music written, drums are written. So yeah, we're really just focusing on this tour that's coming up in January, and then once we come home, we plan to just get right to the studio.
That's cool. Yeah, it's good that you guys kind of have like that little plan just to kind of get things, going and keep the hype going and build yourselves up.
Yeah, we want to just try and stay as active as possible and relevant, because I know with all this available technology, anyone can record in their home now and just get it out really quick. So we got to stay on top of things.
Yeah, do you have like a home studio where you just kind of record stuff when it comes to you? Is that how you kind of write things?
Yeah,
maybe not
I do.
A studio, but
yeah. So I've actually recorded every member in the band for both of our releases so far.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then just did all like the editing and arranging, and then we usually send it off for mixing and mastering.
Is that something you're kind of into as well, as like the recording aspect of like bands and everything?
Yeah, it's definitely like a love-hate relationship for me, At the time when I'm editing drums and stuff, I just want to like pull my hair out. It's still so monotonous and just tedious work, and takes forever. But, once it's all said and done, I'm glad that I did it. I always learn a thing here and there. Every time I do it. So yeah, it's fun. And it saves us money and time, and it's a good experience for everybody to try and do it yourself,
Yeah, I think that's really important, man. Like, the DIY thing it's always been around since, kind of punk and metal kind of started, because that's just how it had to be. And I think there are some bands that like get lucky and they don't really have to do that, but the ones that really work at it, man, you can tell it pays off for them in the long run.
Oh yeah, because they've experienced every aspect of the industry essentially,
Mm-hmm.
being their own manager and booking agent, and then like you said earlier, you become like friends and you build this like personal relationship with like all the promoters and venue owners, bar owners and things like that, and plus like people like you that help spread the word, with podcasts and promotion and press and all that. So it's cool. It's cool doing that. You meet new people and learn things along the way.
Yeah, that's been my favorite thing about like doing the podcast and stuff, and you know, even just from when I was touring for a little bit, it was always just fun, you know, getting the word out there about things and meeting people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. It can be stressful too, you know, because you hit up like 100 people, probably only 5 or 10 are gonna contact you back.
Yeah,
You know,
nobody really wants to like take
I
a
mean,
chance.
yeah, they just want the biggest thing that's now relevant, you know, which I totally understand,
Yeah.
because you know they're trying to build up their repertoire as well. But yeah,
What
I
is
think
big right now though? Like, if I
like,
looked back at like everything that's like kind of come out this year, there's no one thing that really stands out. I feel like it's been like a weird mishmash, but
I think this year, I don't know if it's just like my news feed, because I know how Facebook sort of like keeps a tight news feed, you know, on everybody.
yeah.
But I think this has been the year for Arcspire. Like everyone's just like loves them, and they've really blown up this year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That was a band I heard a lot about, and then when I got the album, I was like, oh, okay, I can see why. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them live a few times. Transcend even got to play a local show with them, so that was cool. And man, they're so good, so tight, and just like, you know, they all know what they're doing.
Yeah, I was kind of taken aback because up until this album had come out, I haven't really heard of them, and so I checked them out, and I was like, there's no fucking way, like, they're playing this fast. Like, it's got to be trickery. There's something wrong here. And I, like, started looking up YouTube videos, and I was like, what the fuck, man? This is insane.
Yeah, it's like 240 BPM minimum type stuff. It's wild. Yeah. It's crazy, too. I think there's something about Canada, man. They're just breeding like super sick death metal musicians out there.
They really do.
Yeah, you got Arcspire, you know, Beneath the Massacre, you got Go Rod, you know, so many more.
Yeah, even like early days of like Voivod too, man. Like that was some, you know, it's not super techy, but man, it's there on some of their records.
Yeah.
A little more thrash on some of them, but you know, it's if you look at the early days of Canada metal.
Yeah, it seems like everything I hear come out of Canada, I fall in love with.
Protest the Hero.
Yeah, Beyond Creation, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah, fuck. I haven't heard of them in a minute.
Yeah, we got to play with them at the Whiskey one time. That was fun. At the Whiskey A Go-Go. Up in Los Angeles, yeah. That was a great show.
That's another venue I love, man.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's like a historical part of Los Angeles too, you know?
Yeah, isn't it like the first time you guys went in there, isn't it just fucking weird to think about all the history that's taken place there when you just like kind of sit there and look around at the place for a second? You're just like, holy fuck, like Motley Crue's here, Chris Farley stood like right here, and it's insane, man.
And then like to get to hang out in the green room and stuff too, you know, it's an experience for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, is there anything else you want people to know about or find, or, you know, just plug whatever you want to plug and let people know whatever you want them to know about? And we'll definitely like link up everything in our like show notes and Facebook and stuff too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I guess, you know, we would love it if your audience would take the time to check out any of the bands, but you know, I gotta self-promote my own band here.
Yep.
But Transcend the Realm is just Google us. We're on like every single listening platform or social media site, you know, Spotify, Bandcamp, all that fun stuff. And yeah, we're doing this West Coast tour from January 2nd through the 8th, and it's going to be a fun time. So if you're in New Mexico, Arizona, California area, I hope to see you out there at the show. And just want to thank you again, Dustin, for having me on, and everybody for listening.
Oh yeah, man. I was stoked that you guys or somebody wanted to come on. So it's my favorite part about doing the podcast is like really trying to spread the word about things. As much as it's fun talking about the history of metal, you gotta start somewhere else too and get bands on that people need to hear about.
Yeah, the present time is important as well.
Yeah. And we do have quite a few listeners in all those places you mentioned. So obviously, guys, we're going to post the tour dates. And I'm not kidding. Like, if you just have $10, $15, go to this tour package. Like, you will not regret it. Check out all the bands. Christian, thank you for taking the time to do the podcast, man.
Yeah, thank you again, Dustin. And hope to do it again sometime soon.
Dude, definitely. We love having people back on. No,
Sweet.
Anytime.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be when we're trying to promote the new album, the concept album coming out, probably mid 2018. So
cool.
Yeah. Cool, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. We'll see you in like a week again, maybe. Matt, I will be in person with Matt, so we're going to podcast the fuck out of podcasts. That's what we're going to do. All right. Cheers, cunts.
Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes!